another episode of the Carmen Sense Real Estate Show.
Common sense approach to real estate.
That's correct. That is the star of the show, Carmen Lonardo. I'm Kurt the Boomer Schenk, the co-host, just to keep Carmen from rambling too much, because he will do that.
I do ramble on.
Yes, you do.
Isn't there a song that goes like that? Ramble on.
Ramble on or something like that.
On.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know it.
We have Becky Cavellier as our special guest today. We will get to you soon. She and her husband, Ian, are recent buyers in this very competitive market, and that's something we'll definitely talk about. Be interested to hear your story. And speaking of competitive market, let's first do your phone number and your Twitter and carmensense.com and tell people how to find you.
Sure. Let's see. The easiest way is call or text 585-233-4119. That's cell phone, so call or text anytime. Twitter is On the Move Realty. On Facebook, Carmen Lonardo and Associates. Easy to find. Just Carmen Lonardo Google search, and you'll hit them all up. Yep, I'm there.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you.
Good job with your AdWords there. Yeah. I'm proud of you.
You see my ads all over the place, right?
You do. Oh, I do. Yeah.
I'm following you.
If Alexa starts saying Carmen Sense,
Carmen
then I know
Sense.
something's really going on. I mean, they're totally infiltrating like the Russians. I digress.
Yes, you do. You digress.
Tell me about what's going on in the market.
You know, the market continues to be good. It's still a seller's market. But things, we're in the middle of summer here right now, not to date the show, but things slow down a little bit. You know, dog days of summer, people start going on their summer holidays and so forth. And so real estate takes a bit of a pause. But it's been steady. All summer the business has been steady, I'm sure that folks have heard about the recent rate drop, the Fed rate drop.
Yep.
That will continue to make the market very competitive, and everything appears to be telling us that we're still going to have a shortage of inventory. So it's more of the same stuff, head above water, and eat your Wheaties when you're out there looking for a house because you're going to need them, and we'll go from there. Okay.
And is that sweet spot for sales still in that 150 area?
Yeah, 150 to 280, 300. Okay. As we mentioned before, once you start pushing higher than 300, your pool of potential buyers, shrinks. So that market tends to be a little bit slower, but not really. It's moving pretty good too.
And going into the fall, what starts to happen?
Well, once we get past the Labor Day holiday, there'll be another uptick in the market. There'll be a fall market going on, and that's usually very weather dependent. Once the weather starts to sour, and hopefully that doesn't occur until about mid-November, but it can be earlier, then things sort of, start to slow down. But it's been my experience over the last several seasons that, the market stays kind of brisk into November and December despite the cold weather, but the weather hasn't been that bad either.
Right. Then it takes a break around Christmas
takes
along
a bit
with
of a
everything
break.
Else, and then start ramping up first quarter again. Anything else going on?
No, it's just, steady as we go. It's a pretty steady ship. I think we're all now acclimated to what this kind of market requires on the buy side, on the sell side, and as professionals, we need to hone our negotiating skills a little bit, and that's the value that we provide, right?
As opposed to trying to sell it yourself or and going out into the market on your own and trying to, some people do that.
Some people do that, and most of them figure out that, they've bitten off a little bit more than they can chew, and then they come back and they hire us. So that's great.
So, segue to Becky Cavellier.
Becky Cavellier, yeah. Repeat client. Her and her husband bought their starter home with me. How many years ago, Becky?
9.
9 years ago.
Yeah.
Seems like yesterday.
9 years ago.
Yeah, and I'm going to let Becky tell her story. Tell us what's happened during 9 years.
Well, that's a really broad thing to say.
Well, I know there's a couple of kids.
Yeah, I have twins.
Yeah,
we have twins. They're 18 months old.
Oh.
Yeah. They're why we decided to sell our house, because our current bathroom cannot hold 2 kids at once and 2 adults to help them.
That's important.
And they're ready to use the big kid tub. So
Right.
we're like, we got to get out of this house.
Right. Right.
It's a nice house, but tiny bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does obviously, yeah. You have to expand that with bathing time. It's always fun.
Bath
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Rubber
bath
ducky,
time.
you're so fun. Sorry.
Yeah. So, yeah, referrals.
Referrals.
You came back. Why? Why did you go back with Carmen?
Well, when we were looking for a house with Carmen the first time, he said that he was going to help us find a nice house because he was going to have to sell it.
Yep.
So when we wanted to sell it, I just knew we had to call Carmen back up.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't remember that.
You
but
said that, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's probably a line you leave with a lot of your
Well, I haven't
clients.
used that line in a while. I'm going to have to.
You're gonna have to
I'm going to have
work
to
that one back
work
in.
it back
Yeah.
into the repertoire. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously it worked.
It's back. So, you have twins, and Ian, your husband, has a full-time job. You have a full-time job. Where did you find time to do this? And maybe that's why you have an agent.
Yeah.
So how
Well-
was he helpful that way?
Well, we only looked at 3 houses.
Okay.
So he was helpful in that when we saw a house we wanted, he helped us know what we needed to do to win it, really. Because in this market, you have to win it almost because there's so many people offering. Yeah. And I remember the first time we looked, we tried to get 5 or so houses before we weren't outbid.
Right.
And we didn't have time to go through that this time.
Yeah.
So, and we also don't have time to do to fix up a house.
Right.
So this house we have now that we're selling, I think we got it because it needed to be fixed up.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't get outbid because no one really wanted it. It was on the market for a year.
Mm-hmm. It'd been on the market for a while.
Yeah. So, all the houses that were already done up, we were outbid. So, this time we didn't want to be outbid, and we told Carmen that, and he said, "Okay, well then this is what you need to do to not be outbid." And we only had to bid on 1 house.
People are going to want to know about that,
Mhm.
Carmen. How do people ensure that they're not going to be outbid? Because that's what I'm hearing. People are going in cash heavy.
Yeah.
And just here's 10 more than it's worth, or 15, or
Well, Becky and Ian, I think, had a bit of a leg up because they were able to, number one, purchase a home not subject to the sale of their existing home, so not contingent on the sale of their existing home.
Right.
So that makes it more desirable, obviously, because it removes some of the variables. They were also benefited by the ability to borrow the purchase money from a family member. So, in essence, they could write a cash offer.
Right.
And so there was no bank or financing involved. And some people, wonder why that's, so desirable. Well, again, there's number one, you can close sooner because there isn't another party that needs to go through everything.
Right.
There isn't another process behind the scenes. There's no appraisal, right? So that tends to speed things up a little bit. And I want to just step back for half a second. With a cash offer, you can still make it subject to getting an appraisal if you want.
Oh, okay.
To. Okay.
All right. Yep.
So that's not just a requirement of when a lender is involved. A buyer can choose to do that. They were able to identify a home that really, I think, hit all the bells, right? Location, size, amenities, what makes it interesting is that it's almost equidistant between the 2 sets of grandparents, right? So for child care, that's wonderful, and it's close to expressway access, so that getting to work and getting home,
Right.
in a timely fashion is easy, there was a home. The home that we found was fairly priced, so we could take the risk of paying more for the home. And the condition that it was in, it needs some updating, but solid condition, very good mechanicals from what we could tell. And so we were able and willing to submit an offer that was higher than asking price. So all of those things together, made for a winning offer.
What town?
Penfield.
So Penfield, which, Carmen, you really specialize in Penfield properties. That's your ballpark, really.
It's not really a specialization as much as it is, market knowledge. I've lived in Penfield since 1970, as you know, and so grew up there and know a lot of people there, know a lot of houses there, a lot of streets and so forth.
Yeah, you know the town. Yeah.
And so you know the town, and so you have a familiarity. So when somebody calls, you already have a gut for what's going on in the town and what the real estate is like. So, and that's not to say that we don't buy or sell in other communities in Monroe County. We do, but Penfield is home, right?
Right. Yeah. So, what were some of the other things you were looking for, Becky? The bathroom was a deal, and that had to be improved. But yard size, things like that. Were you, anything that Ian wanted to that you found with this home?
Did I ask Ian what he wanted?
Well,
I think he just agrees with everything I say.
Okay.
Usually. So I wanted the house to be 24 or bigger.
Okay.
I wanted 2.5 bathrooms. I wanted a big yard.
Okay.
So we were looking for half acre or more. I wanted it to be in a neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up in Penfield, too, on a street that was not in a neighborhood.
Right.
And I was always jealous of all the kids in the neighborhood.
Right.
So I knew this neighborhood already.
Okay, good.
And I didn't want to be in a newer neighborhood because, we like old stuff. We have an old house now.
Right.
We didn't want to pay for all the new stuff. So.
It's interesting, too, just to deviate a little bit from the conversation. I was visiting with some friends that bought a house probably 9 years ago now, too, in Victor, in a newer development. And I was just there last week. And I thought I was someplace else because now all of the trees have become more mature.
Wow.
So it looks like a completely different neighborhood.
Right.
So, can you imagine your current neighborhood now if, none of those trees were around and so forth, and it was fairly new? It'd be like wide open space.
Yeah.
It'd be like barren land.
Right. Yeah.
So
now, tell me about that buying process. How did it go? Did it move quick for you? Was it closing quicker than you thought? And was that a problem because you were cash buyers that we're gonna have this house already and we have to sell our other house? So not a contingency, but did that kind of?
Well, we were happy when the sellers didn't want to leave for 2 months.
Okay.
So we said, "Oh, sure."
It gives you time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that gave us 2 months, and then so the closing part actually was slow, I think, or just a regular
that'd be
speed.
Yeah.
And then finding the house took about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's the amount of searching we did, and the finding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what about selling the current home?
Well, we're hoping that'll go quickly. Our neighborhood is pretty good. A lot of the houses go pretty quickly. Our house is, even though the bathrooms are small, has 2, and a lot of the houses in our neighborhood don't.
Right.
We have so it has a lot of positives, and we're hoping that it will sell quickly.
So to get it sold, what does Carmen Lonardo as the realtor do and help with?
Well, I think we've got a great house to sell. It's in Irondequoit, just north of the Winton village there.
It's a great neighborhood,
right.
yeah.
So it's just outside of the city in Irondequoit, and it's a great 1920s house. 3 bedrooms, like Becky mentioned, 1.5 baths. That half bath is sometimes rare in those older homes. Big 2-car garage.
Nice.
And sometimes garages are at a premium in that neighborhood. But we did have a house that has been lived in for 9 years with now babies and pets and so forth. So we needed to do some things to get it ready for market, some painting, some minor repairs,
Okay.
some plumbing repairs, and there was some old carpeting that I thought it was better to take it off and expose the hardwoods, because the hardwoods underneath are in decent shape. It's like got all of the old gumwood trim,
Love
some
gumwood
leaded
trim.
glass,
Yeah,
and so
love
forth.
that, yeah.
And it's actually pretty spacious. It's almost 1,800 square feet.
Oh, it
It's
is
a
big.
pretty
Yeah.
decent house.
Yeah.
Walk-up attic, which is not finished, but
It could be
Could
easily.
be
There's potential.
yeah,
Yep.
easily finished. And that's it. I think it's going to be a great home. The key is, because some of the one of the things that I've been noticing, particularly over the last couple of months, I think that in some cases, agents and sellers have smelled blood and have gotten a little greedy on price. So I've been seeing some price reductions, where before there was no such thing because the house wouldn't be on the market long
Right.
enough for a price reduction. But we're seeing some of those now. So it's really important to take advantage of the current market climate, but also not to be greedy. So I think we're going to price it just right. And admittedly, my job is to get these folks the best possible price and the best possible deal, for their home. So, it's a question these days of where do you price it that might be more likely to generate multiple offers and therefore escalate the price.
And are we going to do showings of the house at all?
Yeah,
Or
yeah. I'm gonna list
open
it.
houses?
We're gonna list it middle of the week and delay negotiations until the following Monday, and that'll allow people time to get in and view it. I don't care for the, it's on the market, but you can't see it until Saturday or Sunday.
Right.
Kind of baloney. I mean,
Yeah.
is it for sale or is it not for sale?
Right.
Right.
Coming soon.
But letting people in to see it at their leisure, so it's not a circus, with 30 or 40 or 50 cars descending in a neighborhood and on a house on a particular day, so that everybody's got to get their offer in. I think it makes sense to allow people to see it for a few days and then delay negotiations for a
It's
point in the
interesting
future.
that you're doing that, instead of just getting obliterated by people, like almost overrunning your house, on a certain day, that you're kind of spacing it out to help with negotiations. So.
Well, I've been on the real estate professional side of that coin too, where you're having dinner with your family and
Right.
the phone rings and Boomer is saying we got to go see this house, like right now it just came on the market,
Right.
and you really don't care about the tuna fish sandwich that I just started eating. You know what I mean? So we have to get up from the dinner table or whatever else we're doing with our family and go schedule a showing because this house is going to be gone. Now with delayed negotiations, you call me up and I can tell you, Boomer, they're not going to review offers until Monday night, so
Right.
we have time to get
You
in
got
there.
time, yeah.
There's no compelling reason to just jump in there like right now.
Right. And of course that helps you because you've got a lot for you. Got, twins and okay, we can't be home at a certain time and it's got to work around your schedule.
And then in this kind of nutso market that we're in too, having to make a very important decision, on the fly. Like you walk into a house, so either you want it or you don't want it. There's no sleeping on this one. So
Right.
we're either writing the offer tonight or you're not getting the house. Period. And that I think creates a lot of buyer remorse. Did we make the right decision? Oh my God, we paid $10,000, $20,000 over, and if they've had some time to think about it, then I think it's a better decision, right?
Yep.
Less likely to feel bad about it.
Did you get an inspection on the house you bought?
No.
Interesting. So we're seeing that now, that people are just not doing inspections because it's so competitive.
Yeah, and you really, it's not something that is recommended.
Right.
I can walk through a house. I know my way through a house just because of all of the houses that I've seen, all of the inspections that I've been on.
Yep.
And you learn things from the engineer and going through the process and so forth. But I'm not a building specialist by
Right.
any means, and I'm not an engineer. I'm not an inspector. Heck, I can maybe drive a nail in with a hammer, but that's about it.
Right.
It's not something that I recommend, and a buyer really needs to be comfortable with going into an offer that isn't subject to an inspection. But you look at a house and you look at the way it's maintained, and you can pretty much tell whether you can get by without an inspection or not.
Right.
The mechanicals are newer, the furnace and air conditioning system is newer.
You can tell what year that is. You can look at the roof and know
Right.
if that's been a recent,
Exactly. And, and how long the folks have been in the home,
Right.
And you can tell when a home has been taken care of, when a home hasn't, that shines too. But, you take a bit of a risk.
Sure.
Right? So, homes oftentimes have latent defects that, we just can't see and we're not qualified to see. But I think they made a good call. I mean, they've been in the house now for, a couple weeks?
1 week.
1 week.
Yeah.
1 week. Still living on boxes, huh?
And
Yeah.
So far, the sky isn't falling and the roof's not leaking,
Right.
right? Okay, good. Well, there's lots of time for that, so we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the bathroom's all set up now for bath time for the twins.
They're in the bath time. They love it.
Yeah.
And Ian's mowing the lawn. The half
We
acre.
haven't mowed the lawn yet.
Haven't done that yet. It's been a little dry, so you're okay lately. So yeah.
We don't even have garbage cans yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
That's coming.
We just take it over to our old house.
Yeah, in between homes, I did that
Hopefully
too,
no one
as far as I
hopefully no
remember.
one from Waste Management as well.
Yeah.
Oh, just kidding.
Just kidding.
Why would you recommend using a realtor like Carmen and his team? I mean, how ultimately did it help you, other than the obvious that you found your home you wanted?
Well, we wouldn't know how to do any of the paperwork things.
Okay, that's important.
Okay, what else?
No, that's fine. The paperwork's huge.
It made us more confident in
Okay.
what we were buying
Mm-hmm.
because we really cared about his opinion.
Okay.
So when we went into the house, we wouldn't have on our own decided to offer however much more over asking, and
Right.
he helped say, yeah, this is competitive. I mean, this price does make sense for
Right.
what you're going to get. And this, he knew about the location. He knew, so we really cared about his input. We wouldn't
Right.
have gone and offered
What you
that
did.
with it, yeah.
So did you do, in this area it's approximately this much per square foot pricing? Is that what you did?
Yeah. But, it's more than just, what the price is today, right? I mean, every buyer is sort of has to have a forward-looking idea of where is this house going in the future. And, life is a wonderful thing. It just continues to throw you curveballs, right? So you can plan on this is going to be the it home. We're going to be here for the next 20 years, 30 years. Our kids are going to grow up here. They're going to go to school here.
Right.
And once they're out of college, then we're going to downsize.
Yep.
So we're going to be here for a while, and then, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years goes by, and your plan, goes down the tubes because something happens that you couldn't possibly contemplate now. A job loss.
Right.
Family splits up.
Yep.
Job relocation. Any number of things. Right. One of the wage earners can no longer work for whatever reason. Right. So the house becomes unaffordable. So when I counsel buyers on what they're paying, I'm saying, yeah, okay, we have this 20, 30-year horizon to look out. But what happens if we need to sell this thing in 5 years, right?
Right.
And so that's part of the equation too. And you really need to know the neighborhood. What's this neighbor going to sell for? What is the appreciation in this neighborhood? Is it in a desirable area? Is it going to be an easy sell? I think they've got a great house, and it's one of the older established Penfield neighborhoods, and it's gonna sell. So if we need to sell it in 3 or 5 years, it'll
sell.
Yeah,
and we can vouch for the school district.
Yes, we can.
Look how great we turned out.
We're products of the school district.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's a good one. Actually, it is.
It is.
Penfield School District is excellent. So we can vouch for that. So your kids are going to do great.
Not that we would steer people towards a particular school district. Or
not at all.
Because we don't want to be in violation of any laws.
No, whatever laws those would be. All right. Any? How should we wrap this up? Referrals. You touched upon how important referrals are going to become for agents now.
Yeah. Well, in this kind of not necessarily this kind of market, but where is the profession going? We've got all of this technology, we've got all of this information out there.
Right.
What the real estate professional provides today is a lot different than 10, 15, 20 or more years ago. Before it was the information, we had the information, but now the information is in the public sphere, right?
Right there.
And so really, what is it that what is the value added? And the value added is the knowledge about the process, the knowledge about the areas, and some forward thinking, some negotiating skills, and really having a genuine relational interest in helping your clients succeed, both on the sell and on the buy side. In my mind, and this is how I run my business, it's really not a transaction-based business. If we wanted to just, sell one, move to the next one, sell one, move to the next one, sell one, move to the next one, that's going to be short-lived.
Right.
I want to run my business in such a way that I just absolutely and completely wow my clients. And then I know that when it comes time for a friend or a family member or even themselves to come into the real estate market again, I'm going to be top of mind, and they're going to say, you've got to work with this guy because he is exceptional.
Right.
Right. And so that's where we're going with this. So referrals are very, very important, and repeat business is very, very important. So I'm never too busy for referrals.
Okay. How can people reach you?
They can call or text 585-233-4119. That's the easiest thing to do. Or send me a message on Facebook, and that's Carmen Lonardo, or the real estate page is Carmen Lonardo and Associates. And if that doesn't work, just do a Google search, you'll find me.
And LinkedIn too.
LinkedIn too.
He's there. So one more question for you, Becky. What's your kitchen like?
My new kitchen or old kitchen?
The new one.
It's got tile floors.
That's good.
So we can.
If you spill stuff on there, that's fine. Kids are going to be making a mess.
Yeah.
It's a kitchen I'd like to cook in.
Well, that's the perfect time for
Carmen Cooks.
Carmen Cooks. So, what's on the menu today, Carmen?
Well, I got to say, this year, and I don't know what everybody else's experience is, but my zucchinis have done nothing.
Yeah, me too.
I think I picked like one zucchini. And we've had lots of blossoms, which is great. I don't know if everyone is aware, but zucchini blossoms are edible. And basically anything in that squash family, like pumpkins or other kind of squash, same kind of deal. Some people stuff them. I just like to dip them in some seasoned flowers and then an egg wash.
Okay.
I get my egg and my grated cheese and a little chiffonade of parsley, a little black pepper, and whisk up the egg. Put the blossoms in there and then just fry them up in some oil and eat away. They are absolutely delicious. Out of sight.
What's the origin of those? Because you said this to me a couple of years ago. It's like, hey, nice garden. You're going to eat those blossoms. Like, why would I eat the blossoms? Yeah. Is this an Italian thing?
It might be a European thing. I don't know. I'm amazed at how many people I make the suggestion to that think I'm nuts and have no idea what I'm talking about. But
never knew.
They're wonderful. They're a nice little delicacy. A nice little. Have some friends over for some wine and cheese. You whip some of those up real quick, and put them out like as an appetizer, and people are really wowed. They're delish.
I'll be over.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll throw a quick picture up on there. If, you could send that to me.
Sure.
Because Fitz here at Rock Vox is a genius. We love his studios here. If you're going to do any podcasting, Rock Vox is where to be, folks. So
yeah.
Let's. I'd like to thank Becky Cavellier again. I'm sorry we couldn't have Ian with you today, the hubby, but good luck with everything coming up, and thanks for your time and being on the Carmen Sense podcast.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Becky.
You're welcome.
And one more time, Carmen, before we close out, let's get your info out there again, please.
Absolutely. Cell phone is 585-233-4119, and if you're brave enough and want to write this down, Carmen.Lonardo@remax.net.
So again, thank you for watching Carmen Sense.
Common sense approach to real estate.
Common Sense, episode 6. Number 7 will be coming up soon. We'll keep you posted, and thanks for watching and listening, folks.
Bye-bye.